Welcome once again to the Lighthouse, and I am your host, Rachel. And today we're going to continue with our series on the 12 disciples. Remember, the 12 disciples are centers, mind centers in our lives, in our minds, that we need to work on. We need to discipline them so they can be of better service to us on this beautiful journey, uh, human journey, of spirits living a human life. And I think it's a beautiful journey. I think so because every time I discover new things, new truths, I get excited. I get really, truly excited because it's amazing. I have more control, I have more knowledge, I have more wisdom, and it feels like, yes, I am in control of what is happening instead of just taking the punches from the human experience without understanding anything. So we've been talking about all the other disciples. If you've been watching the videos, if you haven't, well, I would ask you to please watch them. Today we'll be talking about the disciple James. James, we had James before, and now we're having another James. So he's called James, the son of Alphaeus. We had to separate the two Jameses. The other was just James. But this one now is still James, but we say the son of Alphaeus because when you just say James, you don't know which James are we talking about now. So to distinguish both of them, we say James, the son of Alphaeus. So James, what does James mean? James is self-sacrifice. Self-sacrifice and order. Self-sacrifice and order. Self-sacrifice, order. What does this mean? Wow. Sacrifice. I don't mean putting a lamb and slicing up the neck and let the blood spill out. I don't mean sacrifice of chickens or sacrifice of animals or sacrifice like they did of old. They got it all wrong. Jesus sacrificed himself too. Jesus sacrificed himself. But we get it all wrong. We think sacrifice and then we want to use animals or humans and sacrifice something to the gods or something like that. This is not what we mean. Self-sacrifice. When was the last time you sacrificed yourself? You gave away something. You give away your time. You give away your mind. You give away your love. You give away your ego, your time. Jesus sacrificed on the cross. And I know, my brothers and sisters, there are many people out there that say, Jesus did it for me and I don't need to do anything else. I can relax and it is all done. No. When this disciple James, the son of Alphaeus, is awakened and disciplined within you, you have order. You have self-sacrifice. You give of yourself. You don't just take. Jesus did it to give an example to show us. And now we also can offer, like my time. We give all our time to the material world. We give all our time to the government and all the things of the world. We give our time to TV. We give our time to play. We give our time to food. We give our time to every other thing, but not for the spiritual life. The spiritual life is not just going to church or going to a mosque. Your time with yourself for the kingdom of God is within. Have you found it? If I ask you, have you found it? You say, I don't have the time. You are not sacrificing. James, the son of Alphaeus, is not awakened within you because you say you don't have the time for spiritual things. Your mind. What are your affirmations? Every day you wake up, what is it you think? What are you thinking? What is the focus on your mind? Because that's your idol. What are you thinking about? Money, a Lexus, a Porsche, a Rolex watch, the finest houses. What is the most thing you're thinking about? Your time, your mind. What are you thinking about today? Now that has become an idol. This is now your God. You must sacrifice your time, your mind, your love. He said, I love God, but I don't love my neighbor. Hmm, this is a strange one. It's because God is in your neighbor, but you say you love God, and so you lie. You cannot love God and not love your neighbor. Yeah, well, you don't understand me, Rachel. My neighbor was very bad. God is in him, the same as God is in you. Why don't you love God then? But I do. I love God. I go to church. But you hate your neighbor. How are you sacrificing your time? Self sacrifice. You take it. You forgive again and again and again. You do it. You forgive again and again and again. You forgive not because of the person, because of who is in the person. You do it again. You take it again. Sacrifice your ego. Your beautiful ego. This is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful topic here. Your ego, you must sacrifice it because on this journey, it's a spiritual journey. It's a spiritual living a physical life. Now, the spiritual is higher than the physical. The spiritual laws are greater than the physical laws. The ego is on the material and the physical world. And spirit is greater than the ego. Now, self sacrifice, your ego wants to rule over the spirit. This is not possible, and so it is. There's a pulling because spirit wants you to understand I am in charge here. And your ego says, no, I am in charge here. And there's a pull. And this pulling makes you sick, makes you depressed, makes you never get it. You are in war within yourself. We talk about war in the Ukraine. We talk about war in all over the world. We talk about war inside of you. There is also a war. You must sacrifice the ego. The ego cannot die. The ego is there to serve you. But now the ego has taken over and become the ruler. And then the physical body suffers because the ego is in charge, while spirit is supposed to be in charge. Spirit wanted the experience. Spirit came in and wanted to experience something. And the ego decided, I will take you around. I will show you around the place. And all of a sudden, spirit is now in charge. But ego is now in charge. But spirit is the one that wants the experience. Now, ego was supposed to be the servant that should show him around and be of service. And all of a sudden, the ego decides, I can take over from here now. And this war makes the journey from being a wonderful experience to this a war. The ego wants things for itself. The ego wants to rule. The ego wants to attach. The ego wants to cling. The ego wants to take. The ego wants to, you know, take the center place. When was the last time you sacrificed? So if James, the son of Alphaeus, is disciplined, what happens? He's organized. He's organized. You know, when you have a room that is very organized, everything is in its place. You come to the kitchen, everything is where it's supposed to be. You get into the bedroom, everything is the way it's supposed to be. You don't take the pots and put it in the bedroom. You don't take the pots and put it in the bathroom. You don't, this is disorganized. The same thing here. When James is organized, when James is disciplined, he's organized person. And organized is not just the physical, it's organized in the mind, in the spirit, and in the body. These three, they go together. The body, the mind, and the spirit. The body, the mind, and the spirit. They go together. There's a balance, there's a harmony. Now you give of yourself. You give of yourself. You give your time, you give your mind, you give you give your money, you give of yourself. You give of yourself because you sacrifice yourself just like Jesus sacrificed. And it is also written in the scriptures that anyone that cannot leave his father or his mother is not worthy. It's not worthy of me. Anyone that cannot leave, cannot sacrifice, cannot leave his mother, his father, is not worthy of me. Meaning, anyone that cannot leave his Rolex watch, anyone that cannot leave his business, anyone that cannot leave his family, anyone that cannot leave and sacrifice for me is not worthy of me. The day I call and you say, no, but you know what, I'm busy. I have a farm, or I have a mansion up there, or I have a wedding that is coming up tomorrow. And you cannot sacrifice of yourself. You're not worthy of me. That as soon as you hear the voice, you drop everything. You're not attached. You drop and you leave. This may sound very freaky to some people. But if you cannot do this, leave father and mother, you're not worthy of me, it says in the scriptures. So you give of yourself. And giving of yourself means that you are non-attachment. Non-attachment. You're not attached to anything. You're involved with everything, but not attached to something. You have a wife, a husband, a child. You have children. You have everything that what physical, material thing, but you're not attached. Attached means you don't want to control. These attachments become like chains that bind us, and we come in the place of bondage. That if something says, well, I cannot stay, I want to go, you say it's okay, it's all right. I thank you for the run. We've had a good run. We've had a good time together. You let it go. And as a teenager, I remember we usually say that if you love something so much, you let it go. If it's yours, it comes back. If it's not yours, it's not going to come back. Let it go. Start learning to let go. This is James, the son of Alphaeus. It's not attached to anything. James, the son of Alphaeus, he's an organized person. He gets rid of excesses. When your house is cluttered with many things. I'm guilty of that one too because I love clothes. Your house is cluttered with so many things. Start to let go. I'm guilty. I have lots of clothes and lots of shoes. I've started piling them up in bags and start giving it to the poor and giving things away and trying to declutter and get things out of my system and sacrifice something for the kingdom. The more you give away, the more you get rid of stuff, the more you find that you're more organized and you have this space where spirit is always with you in a clean and empty space. You have only the basics. You only keep those things that are basic. But even those things that are basics, when it is time, you're easy to let go. Nothing should ever keep you chained and attached to the material world. Now, if it is not organized, if your mind, if James is not disciplined, what happens here? Let's take a look at this. If James is not organized, if James is not disciplined, James is disorganized. He's not disciplined. James is disorganized. Let's take a look at that. Just place my board right just a little bit here. James become disorganized. James becomes self-centered. He thinks only about himself all the time. James become attachment. He's always attached to things. Everything he has, he wants to control. It is mine. It is mine. No one else. I cannot share. I will not give. It is mine. I'm attached. If I don't have it, I suffer. He's attached. Self-gratification. He always wants do things to always please himself. Me. No one else but me. It goes, it can go on forever, so I'm not going to do that song. But he has self-gratification, and he think that doesn't make him happy. Well, everybody's going to suffer for that. And his ego rules. His ego is the master here. The ego rules. And what happens? Spirit is dormant. Spirit cannot be active because his ego rules. James, the son of Alphaeus, is order. Order is just like the sun. It comes out every morning and goes down every evening. There's an order. The universe works in order. Everything has seasons and times. Now we're in the winter time. Order. It repeats itself. Everything has its place. In Ecclesiastes, it says everything has its season and its time. Order. James, the son of Alphaeus, has order. And self-sacrifice. He gives of himself because of love. He's in love with spirit. He's one with spirit. And it's so easy to offer himself. He's not attached. He doesn't let the ego rule over him. James, the son of Alphaeus. And this is where perfection in totality, a sacrifice is the highest gift you can give. That you can sacrifice your shoes for someone else that has no shoes. You can give your plate of meal to someone else that has no food. Self-sacrifice is the highest gift you can give. And Jesus showed us the way that we should do as he does. We should do as he did, that we can sacrifice something back for God. But we love to take from God, but we never give back. So now when you ask yourself, when was the last time I gave something to God? When was the last time I gave God my time? When was the last time I woke up in the morning and not think about my phone, or think about my games, or think about what is happening in society now and all the negative things they're talking about? You give yourself first to all these negative things instead of offering yourself first to God. When was the last time you gave up your ego and said, let somebody else take the glory? I'm not going to take the glory. I don't need it because I'm bigger than that. I'm spirit. Spirit is bigger. Spirit is not attached because spirit is everything. But the ego thinks so little. It wants to belong to one little small thing. And you see that ego is perishable. It dies. All the things you attach yourself to, it dies. It goes away. It fades away. Spirit never dies. Spirit is eternal. Spirit is everything. Spirit is everywhere. It's much bigger. So letting things go, the more you let go, the more you have self-sacrifice, the more that comes towards you. The more you cling to things like the ego wants, the more you lose things. So James teaches us how to let go, how to sacrifice. and how to keep things in place, in order, in our bodies, in our minds, and in our spirit. You think about this. Think about this, chew on it. Thank you for listening on the son, James, the son of Alphaeus. I'll see you in the next disciple. Remember, I love you. I love you. I love you. Peace, peace, peace.